Okay, coming to an understanding. We all have our own way of doing it. And although I feel like right now I understand a lot, I know that there's a lot in this world I don't understand, and really hope that I have the opportunity to gain that knowledge. Like, the reason I feel I'm able to understand people, actions, boundaries, the importance of listening, the reason I feel I'm able to understand these and convey these things is because that's just my experiences I had, okay? The psychology, and I never took a course, guys. But the reason I know these things is because I experienced them firsthand. I went inpatient 4 or 5 times, for 2 weeks each time. So I saw these things and was listening to how other people were being labeled. I was just observing the world around me. Obviously, when I talked to the therapist and the psychologist, I was listening to what they were saying about me because I wanted to understand. So that's just how I learned those things. Honestly, the coming to redemption, making amends, understanding oneself, how I got that experience was because I did go down the path of alcohol abuse and substance abuse. So I found myself in a program, guys, where they kind of make you look at yourself. Why are you doing this? How do we fix this? And they got good at it, guys. I did that for 3 months. I went into rehab for 3 months. And the thing is, when I was in rehab, what I did was I did just listen and observe and take in what they told me. Does that mean that I instantly changed? No, when I got out, I still drank too much sometimes. So, but that's how I learned those things. The understanding how people are being perceived and communication, how I came to that understanding was just, I wasn't really allowed to talk, guys. I wasn't given the permission to talk when I was growing up, and that's totally fine, because it made me learn how to listen. It made me learn how to observe. I have kind of a average-sized family, and they're all very intelligent. We all are, guys. We're all very intelligent in our own ways. And my family was encouraged to speak about your beliefs. Tell us what you're seeing. Talk about these things. We refer to it as going deep, okay? We were raised that way. My parent did not like surface conversations. I think he felt like it was a waste of his time. I can't speak for a fact because that's totally his experience, but if you talk surface, he kind of just looked at you like, really? This is what we're going to spend our time talking about? So, no, I didn't get that opportunity to just be like, it wasn't okay. If when my dad asked me a question, if I said I don't know, he would respond with, that's not an answer. He would make me explain myself. If you're going to act some type of way, if you're going to say something, then you have to be able to explain yourself. That's all he taught me. So anytime I said I don't know, why are you doing this? I don't know. That's not an excuse. That's not an answer. I want an answer. And he would not let me leave until I had an answer. We've stood there for hours until I came up with an answer, guys. And I did not like it. Nobody likes learning sometimes, especially when it's being forced on you. But that's your parents' job, guys, is to enforce learning on you because they want you to come up in a proper way. I was lucky enough to have parents who did that. There are some things that I was like, maybe we could have done this different. But again, I came to my own understanding of how to raise children, guys. Maybe one day I'll explain, how I see that. I know some people, you have no right to talk about that because I never had kids. That doesn't mean I didn't spend a majority of my life with them. That I couldn't understand them and, what they desired, what they wanted, how they listened. So, you guys, I still had the opportunity to see these things. They just didn't come out of me. And then the understanding what I'm seeing is, for a long time, I couldn't communicate with people. They were saying something but doing something else. Okay? I couldn't understand it. And it frustrated me. So what I did is I found a way to understand it. This body language thing is really interesting, guys. And the only reason I know anything about it is because I read books, watched videos, because I wanted to understand that when you do this, I want to know why you're doing that. That was it. So, and coming to understand people, I did other stuff like learning handwriting analysis. That's a lot of fun, guys. If you don't know what to do with your time, like, analyzing handwriting is a lot of fun. The way that if they cross a line that, okay, cool, they kind of have issues with boundaries. They can't respect that red line, okay? If they push harder, they're probably angry. If they're writing small, like, these things, it's like, it's so cool, guys. If when you're writing and your words kind of go down a little bit, you're probably kind of feeling sad in that moment. If they're going up, you're feeling excited when you're saying this, okay? So I just took the time to learn how to see these things so then that way I can understand you better. That was all that was. I don't have a divine wisdom. And some of you probably, like, obviously you don't, because you probably don't agree with anything I'm saying, and that's fine. But some people out there might agree with a little bit of what I'm saying. And some people might see it like she's seeing something that I'm just not seeing. And it's not because you're not able to. It's just that wasn't your path yet. Or may never be. Your path may be to take us to space. Not to understand the world around you. To understand the world out there. That might be your path. Just my path was strangely learning to understand myself and others. And because that was my understanding, my purpose seems to be, let me show you what I saw. Let me show you what I'm seeing. That's it. Is it my right to tell you what I'm saying? Yes, guys. I have the right to speak. We all do. Doesn't mean you have to agree with me, but I'm more than willing to talk about it. I really am. The thing with the religious aspect, right, is so, yeah, I came under a certain branch, but I went against the grain. And that wasn't something that I decided. It was because of something I was feeling. My actions were caused by something I was feeling, okay? So I went against the grain because everybody in my life was in that branch. So when I started going against that, it made them uncomfortable because they feared for me, you know, which was understandable. It's an understandable reaction. But I didn't let their fear make me stay in that, okay? I went against the grain. I wanted to find something else. So I looked at other religions. I looked at all kinds of other religions, guys. I looked at Buddhism, Hinduism, Satanism. I even looked at it. It's not saying that I wanted to serve Satan. I just want to understand why people do. That was it. And you guys, the Satanic Bible says some kind of interesting stuff. I feel like people are afraid that if they read it, it's going to influence them, which is totally understandable. It's going to make you want to be a Satanist or whatever, which is a scary thought for some people. But it doesn't. Honestly, the only thing you let influence you is what you're going to let influence you. But I was willing to understand it. The one I'm kind of a little... I can do this if I want to at this point, but the certain religion that in America it's kind of shunned on, it was a little harder to come to an understanding with that, which is kind of sad because I understand a lot of religions around the world because I was willing to sit down and be a part of those, but this one, you guys, I couldn't, there's too many boundaries up for me to get over that. And that is also my responsibility. I could have just gone through those boundaries, but it became to a point where it wasn't safe and I wasn't ready to risk my safety to learn this. I hope we get to a point where it's not something scary, rather something to just understand. And I think you guys, if you're, I think you know what religion I'm talking about. If you're looking, I want to understand. So if you see me reading religious novels, I'm just trying to understand why people are doing what they're doing. But when I think knowledge, I think we have the tendency to only look at one book. That we think one book has all the answers. And they don't, guys. They don't. There's more books out there than people. Because we all have so much to say. So, I looked at a lot of books. Not all of them. I really liked, you guys, I really did like looking at Aristotle and Plato and Socrates and these people because all they would do is talk about the stuff I'm talking about. Governments, religions, gods. They would just talk about it and talk in a way that it was like debating. Okay? So, like, what they would do is, like, so I forget what the latter was, who was teaching who, but I read a lot of Aristotle. And he was talking to this guy. I can't remember the guy's name, but all it is they make a statement. The other person says, okay, I can agree with this, but I don't agree with this. And then the other person will be like, okay, I see this, and then this is why I agree with this. And that's all it is talking. So, like, a whole chapter is just them talking about this one thing. Okay? And there's lots of those books out there. So I would read those just because I wanted to understand how to communicate and what they believed. If Aristotle was so remembered by what he said, then I think he deserves my time for me to see what he had to say. That's it. And I think everybody has the potential to be this. So if you come into my life, there's something for me to learn from you. We're all teachers. And we're all students. So that was my coming to an understanding. Going against the grain, not being set in my ways, being open to change, and always being open to change. So that's all I can think of today. If you took something from this, great. If you didn't, let's talk about it. Because there's a lot I don't know, guys. Honestly, out of all the knowledge in the world, I probably have 0.00001% of it. I'm not a genius. And some of you probably were like, obviously. But so, for some people, guys, I look like a genius. Because some people have way less of an understanding than I do because they have less experiences. To the kids I hang out with, I am a genius. And I don't care if you think otherwise because those kids are ignorant. If you're ignorant, I'm going to tell you why you're being ignorant. And being ignorant doesn't mean that you're stupid. It doesn't mean you're not intelligent. It means you just haven't experienced that yet. So maybe I can give you a little of experience. That's it, guys. Calling someone ignorant is mean. Don't label people. But feeling that somebody's ignorant is not a bad feeling to have. Judging is bad. Understanding is not bad, from my perception. Again, we all have our own perceptions. So yeah, that's where I'm going to end today. I hope that you are all living your best life. And I hope that you are all happy and content. That's what I hope. And I hope you're willing to learn. And I hope you're willing to teach. Because please, I want to know what you have to say. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. And there's a lot of people out there that I would love to meet. Because I watched your videos. And I was like, whoa, you did change my mind because I was willing to listen. Even though my first reaction was, whoa, you don't agree with me. You're calling me names about it. So now I don't want to listen to you. But I was willing to sit there and be like, why are you doing this? And they say some stuff and you're like, that makes sense, guys. It makes sense. Do I 100% agree with anybody? No, I don't even 100% agree with myself sometimes. Don't expect that from me. Oh, a good quote that I learned was, expectations are premeditated resentments. Expectations are unrealistic. So if I expect you to jump and you don't do it, then I'm going to feel some type of way about it. I'm going to resent you for not doing what I expected. If I expect you to be a good person and you decide to be a bad person, that's totally on me if I feel some type of way about it. I shouldn't have expectations of you. I allow you to have expectations of me. That's fine. But I'm not going to live up to them, guys. And I'm not trying to. So, let's get to our point of understanding. We're all on our path. Other things I would like to learn, by the way, that I'd like to understand is other languages, guys. Being able to understand anybody you meet is a blessing. I want to learn every language on this planet. Do I think it's possible? Maybe. I don't know. But right now, I can't spend my time doing that. I could, but I'm not going to. But yeah, learning other languages, guys, is not something to be ashamed about. I knew this person who knew 6 languages because she was from a different country where they were surrounded by different languages. So she had to learn these things in order to be able to communicate. Us, we don't have that opportunity. We have that opportunity. We don't have that pressure to learn other languages. So when we see it, we're like, this doesn't need to happen. But it does, guys. Be open to learning. If I could learn Spanish and just go to Mexico and have a conversation with anybody, who knows what I'm going to learn. But right now with my my ignorance, if I go to Mexico, I'm gonna walk around looking stupid. Asking the only thing, like, where's the bathroom? Donde está is, like, all I know. And I try to learn Spanish because, guys, that's our neighbor. Understanding them is totally acceptable. So, yeah, okay, I'm done. I know I've said I'm done like 3 times, but I'm done. Okay. Have a good one.